Okay, a very, a very pleasant good evening to members of the Community Engagement Committee who are present here at the office and who are with us virtually. I think our esteemed Council President Andrew Cauters, and as always, dear Marty Langland, who always has something really interesting and informative to add to all the meetings. We're always honored to have her here with us. Who else have we got on with us this evening? Have we got any block captains? Anyway.
Somebody's raising their hand
Paul-
with their own mute.
Yes.
That's Barbara Sax-Singer.
Okay, Barbara.
From Thornapple.
Hi there. I think I'm
Hello.
a street captain.
Barbara, thank you.
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Sure.
And Lynn Welly's here too,
And Lynn,
another street captain. You got 3 street captains here.
good evening, Lynn.
And Steve's a street captain too, so
Welcome to
4 of
our
us.
meeting.
I know.
And Steve. Okay, very good. I think we're ready to go here with what we have on the agenda.
Who's in charge? Judy?
I'm not muted now. I am muted me.
Can you hear us, Lynn?
Yes, can you hear me?
Welcome, Lynn.
Thank you, sir. I see you're
And,
dressed in your warm clothes.
I sure am,
I like Lynn's hat.
because you like Lynn's hand.
Hat, yeah.
I do too. You're looking good there, Lynn.
You also have Joel Klicksberg from Quincy. I
Oh,
don't know
hi,
if you
Joel.
recognize him.
Welcome, Joel.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Andrew, for the introduction.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
It was my great honor, Joel.
We appreciate
Nice.
that. Okay, let's start with resident comments if we have any.
I have a couple if this is the time.
Yeah, it's always
First,
always the time for you, Marty.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. First, thanks for inviting the street captains, and I'm glad at least 4 of us showed up. I hope more come next time. That was nice of you to include us. I did have a question about street captains needing emails for neighbors. And I'm not sure the best way to handle this, but I just wanted to kind of put it, out for this committee to think about. Some of us have long streets. I mean, I'm kind of lucky. Chestnut has like 25, 26 people, but some of the streets have a lot of people on it. And not all the street captains have everybody's emails. And when we asked the Michael about that, he said quite correctly, I think, that he has, people's emails on the official village list that they use for the voter roll and directory and everything, but that he can't give those out to the street captains without people's permission. And I think, Michael, you're exactly right about that. So the question I have for the engagement committee is, what's the best way for the street captains to get everybody's email? Should we just walk down the street and knock on doors or call people and say, hi, I'm your street captain. Could I pretty please have your email? I mean, that may be the only way to do it if we can't do it officially, but I just wondered if you guys had any thoughts on that.
Marty, this is Michael. The one addition I would say what you just said is we do have the resident directories, and if people have opted into sharing their email addresses on there, then those are available and are in the directories.
The question was about the ones that aren't, who didn't list
Right.
their emails there.
Right.
How would a street captain get those emails? Just knock on doors, I guess.
I think that's what you'd have to do, Marty, yeah.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. And I also want to just follow up on something that y'all talked about a couple meetings ago about some kind of online space for residents to talk with each other about neighborhood issues like flooding, which I know is near and dear to your heart, Joel, and Andrew the same, and Katie the same. We've all dealt with that. The flooding in front of your house, Katie, is unbelievable. Kayaking, I think you said, Andrew, at one point, is available on Taylor Street every time it rains. And so I think it would be really helpful to have some kind of online space, and this is not a new issue. And along the same lines of just communication structures, Gene Sperling asked me to give everybody an update on where we are with trying to fix the listserv. And if I could take a moment to do that, I want to, number one, praise Jean. She's really taken the lead on it, and she's put a lot of work into it. Bill Catherwood and Bill Leibowitz, and even little non-techie me, have all been working on it. We may end up with a new listserv. That looks like where we're going. Jean's got one more option to test, but she's not optimistic and the rest of us aren't either. So when it comes time to announce a new listserv, we would probably want, Michael, your help as the village manager to get the word out, maybe in the weekly wrap up, or have the street captains help, distribute flyers saying there's a new listserv, here's how you sign up. Again, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but at some point we need to have a working listserv that everybody can sign on. So that's in progress. And Jean says hi to everybody. And let's see. I think that's it. So some kind of online space for residents to talk to each other, and the block captain's emails. And again, thank you for inviting us. And Keith, thank you for the beautiful weather. I love this weather. It's gorgeous. Hugs, thanks. That's it. Signing off.
Okay, well, we hope we'll hear from you in the end, Marty. After we've discussed what we're planning for the next several months.
Maybe
So-
I can raise one thing, which is Marty on the listserv. I guess I had not been on the listserv before. You all brought it to the community engagement committee, and then when I went to follow the sign up instructions, you all may already know this, and this may be news to no one, but they can't add anyone new.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, so you, in some ways, it seems to me like maybe there's a little bit more time pressure from the perspective of there may be people who are moving to the neighborhood who want to join the listserv and can't. It's not just an administrative function of there are things that need to be improved, but people who want to get access to it, either because there's things that are being discussed about elections or whatever it is, can't actually even see the messages if they tried to get access to it. So I don't know, from a perspective of time sensitivity, where things stand, because I don't know that I necessarily heard Marty, you say that there was sort of an end date to when you all thought something might be online, but I guess maybe at least from my perspective, I'm willing to help with a little bit of tech background. If you all need the assistance to try and move things more quickly, I'm certainly willing to pitch in.
Okay. Is that you, Phil, saying that? I couldn't tell who the speaker was.
It is.
Well, Phil, number one, a lot of new people can't join. In fact, no new people can join, and it shouldn't be like that. In terms of the timeline, this month, we're basically, Jean's gonna make a, Fisher cut bait decision this month. And it shouldn't take long to get a new one set up. I mean, you can do that literally in less than half an hour. The question is getting the word out and making sure, of course, that it works. So we may use you as one of our testers, when we set up the new one.
I'm always happy to be a guinea pig.
That's a spirit. So Phil, I put you on the list as one of our testers.
Perfect.
And hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have a new listserv, or Jean and the two Bills will be able to do some magic to actually fix the old one. But I'm all for a new one. And I agree with you that this has been going on too long. And we have a lot of new neighbors who want to be on, a lot of old neighbors who used to be on like me, but haven't been able to post anything for like the last 5 years. So this is time well spent, and thank you. And we will proceed, and I'll call you as soon as we're ready to test.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'd like to get anybody else's comments, Joel, Lynn, anybody else would like to say something? Either about the list or whatever.
And Lynn speaking here,
Hi, Lynn.
on the existing listserv, who's the manager of it at this point in time?
That's part of the problem, Lynn, because Bill Leibowitz was officially the manager, but when you go to the site and dig down, where our techies like Bill Catherwood dug down into it, and Jean as well, there's no manager listed. Nobody's listed as the moderator, which has been part of the problem, because if there's no moderator, you can't operate the moderator controls. And so they've been trying to get, Jean or Bill Catherwood or somebody in there to be the moderator, and it's blocked. So Jean had, like I said, one more thing she was. At the moment, we have no moderator.
The Wild West?
Yeah, it's nobody. It's nobody. There's no moderator. Nobody can be added. Nothing can be changed. People who want to update their email addresses can't update it. Basically, the system is running like a boat without a captain, and it's not running very well as a boat without a captain. It tends to run into the
Also,
dock.
no rudder.
No rudder, no captain. So Anyway, like I said, Jean has one more thing she wants to try, but I'm thinking that at the end of this month, we're gonna need help getting the word out about a new listserv, which, I mean, this is not rocket science. Even non-techie me knows how to set up a listserv, but I will not be the one setting it up. More knowledgeable people will set it up. But Lynn, there's no moderator, and there hasn't been for a while, apparently. Somehow the system
Okay.
crashed and there's no moderator. It hasn't been for quite a while.
Thank you for the update. I had no idea that was the current status.
Glad to help.
Joel,
I am happy to be here and listen. So thanks for allowing us to listen in.
okay, if you have anything to say, please, don't hesitate. We like to hear from everybody and there's no time limit on how long they can talk.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yeah, please, Lynn.
As a street captain and as a, this is for all of us, I guess. What is done, if anything, for new people coming in who are tenants renting a house? As far as the welcome bag or no welcome bag or any contact, is there limited contact, no contact with new tenants when they come into the community and one is aware of it?
Sorry, Lynn, this is Paul. My 2 cents is a new resident is a new resident, whether they're a tenant or an owner. And as soon as they move in, they should be getting a welcome bag from the street captain, from the community.
All right, are you aware of the new residents at 6701 Brookville?
Uh-oh. No, I'm not.
Well,
So
the-
I've been derelict in my duty, Lynn. Is that what you're saying?
well, no, I just, just something I happen to be aware of because I've been in touch with the owner of the current owner of the house since they acquired ownership and maintain ownership now as an absentee owner.
Okay,
But there are new people that are living in the house
Wow.
as tenants.
this is exciting because this is the first new resident in Brookville Road for like 8 years.
Falls on it.
Well, you were the last person. One there.
Thank you for that, Lynn.
You're most welcome.
Lynn, I'll take care of that personally, with this week, I'll do it.
Well, I think it's really Paul's job. He's a street captain for Brookfield Road.
Okay, well, I'll either.
Thank you.
Will,
Lynn,
Go together.
thank you.
Both
for
of you
putting
go.
people in line
Yeah.
there. Somebody has to.
Don't need a turf.
The dynamic duo.
Let's do it together. I'll bring the dogs.
okay, that's a really good.
There you go.
That's
You're
right.
welcome, wagon.
Okay.
And from a management perspective, if the street captains ever find out about somebody that like this exact example, find out about someone that moved onto the street and have their names or contact information, please feel free to share that with us. And then we can do the same in reverse as well. When we find out someone moved in or there's a moving truck request or something like that, we can go ahead and send it out to the street captains. I think we need to do a better job of keeping track of that, of who moves in and who moves out anyway. So if you know of anyone that's moving in or moving out, please let us know and we'll follow up with them.
Who is speaking?
That
What's
was
that?
Michael. That was Michael, our village manager. Hi, Michael.
Oh.
Thank you for all your good work.
Oh, you're welcome.
He is doing some really good work too.
Thanks, Keith.
Joel, do you want to add anything here before we move on?
All good. Thank you.
Okay, Andrew. Are you with us? He's probably tending the kids right now. Okay, what about Katie? Do you have anything?
Oh, do I have it? Wow, let's see. Should I add about the fire board at this
I
point?
know, it's the envelope.
What we do it.
The one you're opening.
I have something to add during the comment section. A follow-up from our council meeting, which was last Thursday. One of the residents and former council member, Larry Lawson, brought up that we have a third opening or spot on the Chevy Chase Fire Board. And I was wondering if anyone would be interested in representing the Village of Martin's Addition. It's an appointed position, but it's basically just paperwork that the council fills out, and you're basically just a liaison between the local fire department and your neighborhood. It's a nice way to learn about the inner workings of this community service. And I think there are a couple requirements. I talked to Greg Monk the other day. He's retired and has moved away from the area. I don't know if that name rings a bell with anyone, but he is all for filling that spot because every municipality, or about 10 of them in the neighborhood, have 3 spots. So we should fill it if someone would be interested. One of the volunteer requirements is you help with the open house in the fall, which is very fun for the little residents of the neighborhood. I used to take my kids all the time in October. So it's just wanted to put that out there. And I was discussing this with Michael. Maybe we'll advertise that in the newsletter as well. But if anyone's interested, or if you're interested, or you want to tell any of your friends in the hood, I just wanted to share that and say we have an opening and we would love to appoint someone. Yeah.
Lynn Welly here. I remember at the council meeting when this was discussed, somebody in the council suggested they had somebody in mind that would be good for it, but there was no name mentioned. Do you remember that, Katie?
I do. Yeah, we were discussing residents who might be interested, but just also, wanted to extend it to others who might be.
Hey, and apologies, I'm wrangling 3 kids to bed here, so I heard my name mentioned, but I just
Yeah,
could
that's
not.
what I thought. I said, Andrew is, I asked for you, Andrew, and when you didn't respond, I said you were probably tending to the kids, so.
Yeah, it's my last night of solo parenting after a week of doing it, so I'm at my wit's end. But anyway, I just wanted to reinforce what Katie said. If we have 3 slots, we should fill 3 slots. So I'm sure there are plenty of folks. I don't think it takes a lot of time commitment, and I'm sure there are plenty of folks within the community that would be possibly interested in this no drama type membership. So we'll continue to discuss, and we're happy to entertain names if Lynn and others want to put folks forward. We'll take care of that.
Yeah, I just thought this was a good place to start. Just wanted to share it and get the word out.
Absolutely.
Could this not be put out as a notice from the village office?
Sure. I think we could put out a notice. I mean,
Asking for volunteers.
Mhm. We need 3, right?
Yeah. and-
3.
Yeah, we have 1 spot. Yeah.
and maybe Lynn and Natalie seems to know her way around this board quite well after many years of service. I don't know if we know the type of time commitment that's required. Maybe we could get some cliff notes, unless Michael and others know, to explain what exactly it means, just so we don't scare people off. That would be helpful as well, just to understand.
I suggest you have contact with Paul Weller. He's been on the fire board for many years.
Okay,
and,
we'll reach out to
probably
Paul.
knows Martin's Addition better than anybody.
And I think
good
it's
idea.
Yeah, commitment, 3 years.
You don't want anything to do with.
No.
So I'm happy to have my name put forward if no one else wants to do it. I don't want to take the spot from someone else who wants to do it, but you should feel free to put my name in the ring.
Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Thanks, Val.
So,
Let's see how
Okay.
many more appointments we can get Phil. Maybe he could have the trifecta. Maybe there's another committee.
For a record, yeah.
That's why he's called Phil, because he fills the appointment. Sorry, I couldn't resist that.
It's a good one.
All right, so let's move along here and talk about the celebration on the sidewalk, which is not too far away, only a couple of weeks away. We haven't done this since 2019. So I know a lot of people are excited about that, but since we're gonna have mail-in ballots, what it will lack will be a table that's set up for people to vote. But we could still have everything else and what I'd like. Choose it all.
I didn't realize, Keith, have the election committee decided there won't be a table there for it, that they won't be collecting ballots?
Oh, let me clarify that. This is Michael speaking again. There will be a table and a collection box, but it's vote by mail and you can drop off your box between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. on election night, which is May 10th. And they'll have a table there and the election committee will be manning that portion of it.
Mhm.
The question is what's happening on the other end of the block
Mhm.
as far as the celebration goes.
That's your domain.
Do we have a meeting, do we have a council meeting that night?
The council meeting's the following
Yeah.
night.
Following, okay.
Yeah.
There is a requirement on the election regs that says that there's no electioneering by the candidates within 50 feet of the drop box of the table. And in prior years, having run this for many years, I can tell you, we put up signs that said no electioneering beyond this point around that 50-foot perimeter. Just laminated signs on poles that just said, no electioneering zone from here to the table. Has never been a big issue. I can only recall one incident where a candidate wandered too close to the table and they politely retreated when politely asked. So it was no biggie.
I was planning on handcuffing Andrew Cotters to a chair, just making sure he couldn't move an electioneer on election night.
Well, since all three candidates are here, this is just a friendly reminder to not distribute flyers or buttonhole voters within 50 feet of the table. The table is normally at the south end of the block up by Turner Street, by that little brick, dividing wall kind of thing. I don't know where they put it this year. That's where we always put it, at that end. So if you all stay on the north end of the block, you'll be just fine. And you're all welcome to come. I mean, the election committee has always welcomed candidates to come as long as they don't come within. It's just like, with a county or state election, right? There's, the no electioneering zone there. So just thank you for being mindful of that. And
I guess the real question is, or a big question is, given that we've done this entirely by mail for the last 3 or 4 years, we really don't know how many people are going to show up as opposed to put it in the mail.
last year, about 60 people showed up to put their completed envelopes in the committee drop box
Oh, okay.
over the course of
Thank you for that,
about
Marty.
3 hours.
Good.
So, and people do like the celebration on the sidewalk. Michael, I think you're working with the shops all along there. Normally they would have, food to share and get, the little ice cream tickets, where you can get a free ice cream cone from the supermarket. And the Olympia Cafe had some snacks out on a table on the sidewalk, and we invited the fire chief and we invited the Friends of the Library, and we invited all kinds of community organizations. And so for the staff, the main thing, Michael, was just knowing how many people were going to come, how many groups, how many tables you need to set up. And then each community group would bring their stuff, their flyers. WSSC showed up a couple of years. Pepco showed up, I think, every year. So it is some outreach that can be done either by the committee or by the staff. Michael, you might want to ask Aaron to do this. Typically, it was the assistant village manager who contacted people, said, we're having a little, do you want a table to set up, and we also sometimes had politicians show up. I think that our local politicians are coming to the council meeting the following night rather than to this event. But, they always like to meet and greet. So the main thing for the staff was, knowing how many tables to rent, and each table got 3 chairs. I mean, I have a whole thing on the logistics of that, Michael, that I can give to you if you don't already have it. But it's just, how many people do we invite, and is how many tables we need, and then 3 or 4 chairs per table, and setting up. So Michael, my question to you on this is, have you talked to the shop owners along Brookville Road there, and did they tell you what they would like to do this year?
Marty, I was letting the committee take the lead on this, and I know Keith has already started some of those conversations, so I'll let them answer.
I'm going to be talking to the shopkeepers, the merchants personally. The barber shop, they've agreed already to give half price off on haircuts. And I'm gonna talk to Grace in the Olympia about supplying some food and so forth. And Joe in the Brookville Market, I don't know about the pharmacy, but at least those three merchants, I know they'll agree to pitch in and help us. But I'm gonna take care of that personally. I'll leave, maybe Michael wants to get in touch with some of the utility people. With WSSC, Pepco and Washington Gas.
Sure.
They could have a representative come by and that's something we've done in past years and that's always worked out very nicely.
We also offered, actually every year, we've invited our local cops to come by and our local politicians. So that's, you'll get a yes from the officers, I'm pretty sure. Nick always shows up.
I think Katie might take care of that. She talked to Joe and Nick. Officially asked them to come.
I can talk to Joe and Nick.
The only ones that I didn't capture is the library and the fire. Keith, do you wanna, the only reason I say for youth and fire is I feel like you've got an inside line. Do you wanna do the fire?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm happy to reach out to the library. Do you know which one we've done in the past? There's a couple here that you could potentially, and I'm not saying I'm happy to do all of them, but which ones have we done in the past?
Chevy
I have-
Chase Library.
Yeah, the one in Connecticut.
Mhm.
Not just both in Connecticut, not the DC Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase, Maryland. They're both on Connecticut.
Got it.
And if I could say something, I'm trying not to say too much this meeting because I'm just talking as a liaison and not a candidate about this event. So I just want to clarify that. But the last time, because we have newer members on the committee, I think that the last time we did a sidewalk celebration would probably have been 2019.
That's right.
Yeah, and so a lot has changed since then, obviously, and we might have residents who are envisioning, a certain way you did it, but that doesn't mean it has to be, a carbon copy. You can't make some changes and try some new things. I know one resident reached out to me from Chestnut, Liz Barassi, who had some ideas. She was wondering, because it was during the dinner hour, if you might think about a food truck offering or an ice cream truck offering for dessert. And another resident over on Taylor really wanted to know, because a big part of it was free ice cream and free glasses of wine. And people really want ice cream or wine. So that's all. I'm just passing that along. They gave tickets out. And maybe Brookville Supermarket did that. I'm not sure. I'd have to
Yes,
look.
it was the supermarket.
It was a
and,
super- Okay. And you
know,
paid a permit, yeah.
And yeah, the village paid for it and people got tickets. And then at the end of the day, you counted up how many tickets and the village paid for that many ice cream cones.
So that was sort of the buzz. That's all I'm reporting. Again, liaison hat, not candidate hat. Not promising ice cream and wine to anyone, just reporting. That's right. So.
Oh,
but-
you just gave me a great idea for my second flyer.
You got it on, Andrew.
I guess.
But in all seriousness, I do recall even like food trays with sushi. I mean, not great sushi, but sushi.
Hey, it was
that,
good enough.
high risk sushi for gastrointestinal
There was
effects.
deli-
But
deli meat, there was a cheese tray, deli meat, I remember. Yes, offerings.
I think I raised the notion of an ice cream truck or a food truck last time we talked about it, and the concern was competing with the Brookville shops.
Okay,
But I continue to be pro anytime we can get a food truck or an ice cream truck, because it's just gonna bring the people.
Well, could we just ask Joe, can we ask Joe at Brookville Market? Put out some snacks, put out some wine. And the council and we'll cover the cost and to support our local
I mean,
business.
that's what they did before. and,
The
yeah.
gentleman that is the vendor with the ice cream with the Good Humor truck's name is AJ.
Yeah.
And I can get in contact with him. He'd be very happy to serve us over here.
Mm.
So.
but I think Keith, what Paul, I think, mentioned also, since our local merchants have ice cream, have, snacks and drinks, I think a food truck that offers something that these merchants can't offer would make more sense, so that we provide them with our business and not some outside, ice cream truck per se. I mean, I think the last time the kids, there was no line like we had at 4th of July or Halloween with the food trucks. So I think Joe could probably accommodate, at least the kids.
Mhm.
And for meals, I don't know, what time is this going to be? This is from
5 to 8.
5 to 8.
5 to 8. So on a weekday, the diner closes at 4, right?
Mhm.
But they stay
So-
open for this event.
So that they would stay open for this event,
They
I
have
guess.
in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah, they always have stayed open for this event.
Mhm.
So anyway, just keep that in mind. What our local merchants can offer, we should take
Right.
advantage of. And then if we
It's-
think a
We'll
food
go
truck,
to
which I
them
think is
first.
great.
Yeah, go to them first and then.
Yeah.
Maybe we subsidize it. Yeah, something like,
Mm,
yeah.
mm.
kind of.
It seems like the invite list is one thing. I have the list from every year this has happened.
Mhm.
And then the second thing is who the different vendors are. So I agree, we should start with and the ice cream from the market, if they're willing to do that again,
Start with our merchants.
let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But for some of the other, just the other things that were offered, but there was, I think like our local artisans put out a little table. If we have a few artists in the neighborhood. We have a few authors. I mean, we could say, do you want, just maybe a call out to people that this is also an opportunity as a resident to share, your artwork or your writing. I don't know what that raises with commerce issues. I don't know, but that I do recall there were some local artists, like my neighbor Bernice Duval. I mean, Christmas
And
ornaments.
musicians too,
Yeah.
Katie.
Yeah.
Kevin Marvell showed up with his guitar and had some cassette tapes and played music, it was very nice. So yeah, the artists, musicians contingent, and again, that just goes back to Michael and how many tables we need total.
Right,
So-
that's the thing. We are on a short timeline here. It's 2
Mhm.
weeks from Wednesday.
Mhm.
So we need to get the invite list together and we need to see which vendors want to show up and
Mhm.
make sure we have everything they need at whether it's a table or whether, I'd imagine a musician might need a power cord or something like
Yeah.
that. So let's get on it, this week. Preferably.
We will.
Okay.
You and I will. Okay.
And Keith, we're counting on you for good weather on May 10th. That's your job. So I remember we had one that was a really rainy election night. We all got soaked.
Well, I remember that.
Yeah. So anyway, the weather is your department.
Consider
So
the special order in for a nice day.
Thank you very much.
Waiting for that event on May 10th. I'll get that in ASAP, Marty.
I know you will.
Did I get it right then that, Keith, you're doing the Brookville vendors, Michael, you're doing the utilities, and then I'll do the library?
And there's a few others as well, so we can just compare lists because there's Chevy Chase at Home, there's and as far as the vendors next door too, yeah, we should definitely, at least mention it to the yoga studio and Chevy Chase Arts Academy. I did mention it to Chevy Chase Arts Academy and they are also interested in participating because I don't think they were here the last time this happened. So this is new for them, but they said we could even do, they're looking for opportunities to promote themselves. So they might be willing to play music for us. That's the music school. Yep.
Okay.
And we've never charged any of these folks for the tables. That's something that the village has provided.
Yeah, and I have the invoices from that, but I need to know, I have a few folding tables up here. If it's just, one for the election committee and then one for you all, that's one thing. If there's a lot of booths and stuff, then that requires a bigger rental. So.
Yeah, my memory is that we usually had 8 to 10 tables and about 30 to 40 chairs that we rented, just as a rough sort of estimate.
So we'll see what we can do in 2 weeks' time, but we need to
Yes.
figure out how many we need this time.
Yep.
Need to get on it this week.
Yep.
Which we will do.
Lynn Welly here.
ahead,
Years
Lynn.
ago, pre-pandemic, it was a rainy election night with the social stuff going on at the sidewalk. but there had been sign-up sheets for people who wanted to be part of the Green Thumb Club. One of them was oral history, people that would agree to be involved in that. It sort of fizzled for various reasons. I was just wondering if something like that could be get going again, because these have been discussions over the years about getting more community engagement in different areas. And so we could pick some of these subjects of interest for different people and have a sign-up sheet for them, such as happened a number of years ago. That time it was quite successful as far as the number of people that signed up. And it just never went anywhere. So could that be revived? Is that a possibility?
I do recall that, Lynn, and we had those sign-up sheets at the CEC table, because there was the
Yes.
election table with the Dropbox, and then there was a separate CEC table
Yes.
where we had all those sign-up sheets, and a lot of people did sign up. I think you're remembering that right.
We'll do that, Lynn. That's good.
All right.
Very good.
Thank
idea. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're gonna get on this week and next. So we'll be ahead of the game as far as that's concerned. All right, so we'll move forward for a couple of months and talk about, well, actually, about another 10 days, the Shepherd Street Block Party, which will be on May the 21st. I believe that's a Sunday.
Mhm.
Sunday, okay.
And
So we want-
I can comment on that. I brought this up to the council last week. This is my first block party, as they haven't happened in a number of years. But we're really excited that they're back, and the council is really excited and supportive. So I approved the plan that they submitted to me today. So that was sent back, and I know you've been really involved in it, Paul, so appreciate it. And yeah, we're happy to support. We're gonna close the street to through traffic, of course, allowing emergency vehicles to get through. And we'll provide some tables and our tents and those types of things. But other than that, it's on the block to put it on themselves. The village has a policy on block parties, and this meets all the requirements for that. It can't be an exclusive party, of course. You have to allow people, access to the street, and residents can come and go as they please. So you can't block cars and those types of things. But yeah, we're excited, and it sounds like they got a good team over there that are ready to go and get these things back going. And I'm sure other people will follow. So we could expect that over the next year. Maybe a couple other blocks will join in, and we'll be the block party neighborhood. So that's fun.
Do you mind circulating? I haven't seen it. Do you mind circulating the policy?
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
I did put it in the packet for the meeting last week as well. So
Yeah, thank you, Michael. The only thing I would add, first of all, as you said, Michael, this is a neighborhood thing, the community, the people, everybody's going to roll their barbecue in the street and prepare some food or bring coolers, or, it's very kind of self-contained. You've been fantastic with the mechanics of the street blockage and bringing over the tables. And then the only other question I had is it appropriate for the village to sponsor the ice cream? If all the neighbors are bringing the barbecue and whatever, can the village sponsor an ice cream truck or something like that, or is that verboten?
I think this
This
hedges.
has to be just for the streets, and the village really shouldn't get involved in it.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think we do want to keep it separate of the events that we run out of this office and that we pay for, and the events that people do on their own. We of course want to be supportive, but I don't think it's something we would pay for ourselves.
Okay.
That's
So-
kind of
It's not a
Thanks for
village
clarifying
function,
that.
but it's approved, it's
Oh.
neighborhood approved. I
Yeah.
guess.
Right.
Yeah. And each street can kind of add their own flavor to it, like maybe on Taylor Street, we have a chili cook-off or something,
Ooh, sounds
Yeah.
good.
My husband makes a mean bad of chili, so I'm not saying anything, but, anyway, but you. can
Taylor
do it.
Street's the next party, Katie. You just called it.
He's gonna be so mad at me. So, but it's an opportunity for each street to get together, have their own kind of, put their own stamp on their own kind of party. And it's just like, we just give the clearance, but we don't get involved. So, set up the ability to do it. But yeah, so, and that's fun because then, they can kind of individualize it, customize it. So let's see what, Chestnut has up their sleeve, or Turner Lane.
Hey, we're
Maybe
coming to your
Miss
party, Katie, with the
Pelican will
chili.
Return on Turner Lane.
Chestnut's gonna come on your party on Taylor. We want the chili.
So it's just ideas like that. So I'm glad to see what the Shepherd Street people do, but yeah.
And I think that's gonna catch on
Oh,
the other streets.
it definitely will.
That's exciting.
That's good, yeah.
Word will get out.
All right, so let's move forward to July, because that's our big Independence Day event, which will be on Sunday, July the 2nd, a couple of days before the 4th. And we'll be lining up vendors for that celebration. We're gonna start doing that pretty soon, because we don't want to wait too long on that.
That's a busy weekend.
Yeah, it's a busy weekend.
And competing with other
That's right.
neighborhoods too, with similar
One,
functions.
the big thing I want to have is is that big water slide and the dunk tank. That, see, Michael's not familiar with that. He wasn't here last summer,
I've heard some stories.
but that's a lot of fun, Mike. That's a lot of fun. And we're gonna start working on that as soon as we get done with the block party.
What vendors, I know that I've attended that event before.
Face painting is one of them. The
Outdoor truck.
well, we're gonna have a truck that'll.
Well, the shaved ice guy was really popular with the
Right,
flavored ice.
right,
He's been calling me about once a week to make sure that he's on our list. So
so he's on the list.
I think we got him.
He's
Good.
on the list. He's on the list.
The big guys.
I'm gonna have the Montgomery County Fire be here.
Are they gonna bring their antique fire truck, Keith?
They're gonna probably bring the antique fire truck. I'm gonna make sure that's there.
That's great. That was so much
That's,
fun.
That's something other people have asked me about, that they wanted to have at any of the events like that, 4th of July and Halloween. The kids love that.
Not just the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know about the birthday party with the little child down the street from you, Marty,
Oh, yeah.
that he was just absolutely thrilled, because after he had been on that antique fire truck, he wanted that was his wish for his birthday present, was for the fire department to show up over there. And they not only brought that over there, but they brought a couple of other pieces of apparatus over there.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was back in December.
Mhm. And
And
it was quite the celebration on Chestnut too. Thank
That's
you again
right.
for that.
So who's gonna do the reach out? It sounds like there's the water slide and dunk tank vendor, face painting.
Michael will do that.
I should be contact for all these vendors. A lot of them need signed contracts, which would need to come from me. And then I also see a DJ contract. We have music for that, right?
Yes.
So we'll need to look at that. So yeah, maybe I'll come up with a list before our next meeting of just, the 5 or so vendors that I'm planning to invite that I know for sure are tradition. And then if you all want to add somebody or have some fun ideas, that'd be great.
Well, I'm gonna add the AJ with the Good Humor truck.
How's the shave ice guy gonna feel about that?
Oh, no.
So here's the one thing I'll say about that Good Humor truck is I think we did run into an issue with the Halloween, given that the number of people that seem to be attending our events has increased substantially. And I do worry about if he's gonna do soft serve, which was the problem last time, I think.
More time
when,
to-
yeah, we have big lines, so can he do the bars as opposed to the soft serve?
Sure.
Yeah, because at least from my perspective, that was, I know, Andrew mentioned it. I think that's what caused a lot of the backup is the custom Sundays
Mhm.
at the last event. Because if you're just handing out,
Yeah,
you know,
much
a
faster.
bar, it's easy,
Sure.
easy peasy, but if you're drawing someone a custom Sunday from the soft serve
Of
machine,
course, yeah.
it takes a lot more time.
Sure.
So my suggestion would be to have him cut the soft serve and do the bars and prepare.
Well, and if there is lines, maybe that's more reason to do multiple trucks.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll mention
Sure.
is this is in the new fiscal year. New fiscal year starts July 1. The council is currently working on a budget for the next fiscal year, and they're upping, their current plan is to up the events money. So we'll,
The ante, yeah.
we got all green lights, you know, spend away, make these events really good. That's what everyone wants. So.
The only other thing I guess I would say is, and this feels again like learning from Halloween, if we're gonna continue to have the volume of people that we have, it seemed like it would be a good idea to make sure, you know, the tents and things
Mhm.
we're considering the number of people that might attend as opposed to historical
Mm.
averages, because it felt like, I think we need to start spilling out into the park area.
Mhm.
It, at least from my perspective at the Halloween event, it started to back up the other direction, and it feels like if we could set up, you know,
Mhm.
tables or tents on the park side, it feels like it might work a little bit better.
Mhm.
Yeah, what, Michael, I'm gonna ask you to do on that, of course, I could do it too, but it would be more official coming from you. To talk to Maryland Park and Planning Commission on that, to make sure that they know what we'd like to do on that.
Yeah, there's a,
particular date.
there's a permit you can apply
And
for
you
with
can
them
apply for that, and you should do that.
pretty
you should
soon.
do- You should do that this week,
Okay.
okay? All right, that's right. All right, now, another thing too, that there's been people have asked for to have to come back besides the antique fire engine. Is Paul's Cadillac. Hey.
Yay.
That's, that, again, that'll give me the motivation to get it from under the covers. I haven't driven it since Halloween.
That was a lot of fun that day.
Thank you.
We're
Can I ask-
saving the parade for Halloween though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have had a long time ago, we had, they do over on Williams Lane is a bike parade for the 4th of July where you decorated your scooters or your bikes and. They probably did that pretty recently, I think in the last 10 years, the last time, and there has been one before, a parade component that was your bike or your scooter. But I'm speaking from like, you know, the old days, you don't have to do
The
that,
old
I just
days.
remember that, I do remember we did that
Yeah.
for 4th of July a couple of times, but it's not set. Anywhere that you have to, but something you consider.
Yeah.
Put little, you know, streamers on your scooter or whatever, and same thing, same path. Up that hill and back and, yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Why not?
it might be something that would be fun. We could give Williams Lane a run for their money. We have decorations. So anyway, there's like a bike, scooter, stroller parade. You can decorate as, you know, the baby stroller, just an idea, and you know, for festivities.
Well, we can invite kids to do that, you know, and just leave it out there and see how many do. The thing is to do that earlier in the event, you know, whatever the timing is for that event, not to leave any bike parade or scooter parade to the end, but because kids are tired after they've eaten and played, to do that at the beginning. And same with the Halloween parade, to do that at the beginning of the 2 or 3 hours rather than at the end, just in terms of timing for kids.
Yeah, I feel like they do it right. I can't remember now which other village it is that does it at the 4th of July, but
Mhm.
what they effectively advertise as a starting point.
Mhm.
And so the parade is the beginning of the party. They advertise an address with a starting point for the parade. Everyone meets at the starting point.
Yeah,
And the end point is itself where all the vendors are, right?
Right.
And then so you have a very clear start and finish.
Yeah.
And the finish is than where everyone ends up in front of the vendors.
Which
and
is
the-
so important, because as soon as you start moving in any capacity, then you lose the whole flow of
That's
the party.
exactly
It
right.
starts to get
Mm.
chaotic. People are like, is it over? Is it not? So I like that. I like that thinking, Phil, because yeah, you just have to be organized in announcing it, because yeah. Yeah, and we can do that too, like that other municipality.
Right. So I think if you do it, you have a start and end, and then you
Right.
announce literally a parade
Mhm.
route.
Yeah.
Which event are we talking about now? This is Halloween?
Fourth of
No, this is
July.
the 4th of July. We're not
Okay.
talking about Halloween tonight.
Okay,
We're
okay.
going
I got
as the
confused there.
Yeah.
Movie night in the
Don't
park.
worry about
My suggestion is if we're gonna do the parade for the 4th of July, that we do it similar to what the other village does, who will remain nameless, but wants to name them.
Yeah.
With a start and end point, and we advertise the route it's gonna follow, and if it's gonna be led by the fire engine, that'll get people out and tell them to do their bikes and scooters. I'm happy to put
Mhm.
the route together, I guess, and we can see what it looks like.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I can take that away.
And you know,
Well,
the street
especially-
captains, go ahead.
Especially if you look into incorporating using the field, you could actually scooters can't go over the grass, never mind, but I'm saying the bikes. You could go around the field as a parade route, but your strollers could do that. I don't know if scooters do. But something to consider, you can incorporate that extra space somehow for
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And the weather forecast for 4th of July, I'm gonna give it to you right now. Mostly sunny, hot and humid, chance of a late afternoon thunderstorm.
The back here.
Right. How about some other comments from our virtual guests? Who's with us here? Joel? Barbara?
Hi there. I actually joined the calls to chime in on the movie events. So when you get to that, I'll be happy to share some thoughts and ideas.
The movies,
Oh,
the movie
okay.
events.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be next.
Okay.
That'll be next. Anybody else want to comment on our Independence Day event?
Just thanks for doing it.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments, Marty, as always. Then the next event on the agenda here is and this is something we talked about, maybe not just doing once a year,
Mhm.
but maybe doing it a couple of 3 times a year, is the movie night. And that usually is on the Labor Day weekend on Sunday.
Mm.
So that's that's something we want to comment on here now and look forward to, because that's been very successful the last few years. Except we didn't do it in 2020.
Yeah.
We did it in 19, resumed it again in 21, and had one last year.
Mhm.
And I think I asked for this one in the context, asked for this one on the agenda in the context of adding more was the thought. Like, it seems like it's a relatively inexpensive, so long as we don't like select the first run movies that I know have a licensing fee that's more substantial.
Mhm.
It seems like it's a relatively inexpensive thing to do. And it always, people really seem to like it. And so, you know, at least my thought was pick once a month during the summer as opposed to just once the whole summer.
Like a summer series.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's great. And I can't remember if we did it this way or not, but the other thing you could also consider doing is doing a double feature where you have like a G-rated movie for the little ones that starts a little bit earlier, and then having, you know, a movie that's more targeted at, you know, middle school, high schoolers and adults for the second movie. Because I know that we struggle to pick a movie that we think is going to be appealing to everyone, but we did the drive-in theater, and the way that they solve for that problem is they do a double feature. So they have a movie earlier that's more for the younger kids, and then they do a movie that is sort of more targeted at the adult generations for the later ones. So that was my thought, but I don't want to, Barbara, steal your thunder.
No, it's not Thunder. Here, let me lower my hand now. Not Thunder. Some of those were actually the points I was going to make. So I was on the Community Engagement Committee the year we implemented this event, and I think it was actually even my original idea. And so I wanted to talk about how it evolved and just reiterate some of what you just said. It started, so the first year we did it, we picked a Sunday night over Labor Day weekend because it's cheaper on a Sunday than it is on a Saturday or a Friday. So we picked a long weekend so that we could do a Sunday. It was cheaper. And then that first year, some of you may recall, there was lightning in a distance about halfway through, and we all had to leave. And I thought, oh, what a shame, because it was such a great event and we had so many people there. But that was it. We only planned it for that one weekend, and that was it. Granted, it was already Labor Day weekend. We couldn't plan another one quick enough to get another one in. But I've always thought that it's the kind of event, it's easy to plan. It's not that expensive, and that it is a good idea to probably do on more than one occasion, especially if it's going to rain. And you won't know that, and you have to pay. But if we have other events on the schedule and we end up having to cancel one, I think they would maybe put the money toward the next one or something like that, but not if it's a once a year event. So I love that you just said, actually, that we could try to do it 3-4 times over the summer, once a month, however we decide to do it. That's great. The other thing I wanted to mention, it was originally, the idea was to have an event that appealed to some different audiences. So the very first movie choice, well, actually it was Back to the Future. But I remember one of the other ideas was Singing in the Rain, and more of like a classic movie to appeal to our 90-year-olds and maybe our 9-year-olds, but really to make sure everybody could come and have interest. And that part I feel like is what kind of got lost lately, because I know this past year it was, what was the movie? It was something that my kid had seen 100 times and had no interest in seeing again. It was
Bruno, what's the matter with Bruno or
Oh,
something like that?
it was that one, right? That all the kids had seen it a gazillion times by the time we were showing it. And so my kid didn't even want to go, and we didn't go. And I thought, oh my God, I started this event and now they're picking a movie. And I don't think the target audience should be the little kids, but because by the time it gets dark, the little kids have to go to bed anyway. So, and we have the July 4th event, we have the Halloween event, that's all targeted for the little ones in the neighborhood. And I kind of feel like this one should be targeted either to tweens, teens, and then older people to have just greater appeal. The little ones aren't going to stay late enough anyway. So if we're going to have more than one event, then we can target movies for different people. I know that Labor Day weekend, a lot of people go away, so it wasn't always a great weekend, but if we're going to have more, we can certainly target it to different ages. But I know my kid is aged out of most of the events that we tend to do now. So a movie night is something no one's really aged out of, except if you're 5 and have to go to bed early. But anyway, so those are my thoughts. I've always had the idea of trying to up our game. Last year, I know you guys got a food truck, so that was kind of upping the game for the movie night. But I had an idea at one point of like gourmet popcorn where they make it right on site, not the really bad, awful popcorn that, they bring those things in, they pour in the, anyway, the like kettle corn, you can get a guy to come and make a giant vat of kettle corn right in front of you, and it's fun to watch. And so these are little things that aren't that expensive that just would make the event a little better. But I would like to see some of them target like teens, tweens, and then older people too. And even a double feature is a great idea. And we looked into that one year. And I think that the neighbors I talked to at that time who had teenagers didn't think their teenagers would maybe stay alone in the dark. I don't remember. There was some issue why we didn't just target them. But anyway, that can be discussed and figured out. But those are my 2 cents, or maybe 3 cents at this point. So I apologize for going on and on, but I like that you mentioned many of the things I just said. So we're on the same page.
We really like what you just said. Barbara, I wish you would come back with us. I was the only man on a committee that had like 3 ladies, and now look what I'm through the year. I'd like to.
Wow.
Exactly.
Thanks, Steve.
I'd like to. No, Paul and Sylvia are the best, but I'd like to have Barbara back.
Yeah, I think what Barbara and Phil said is absolutely fantastic. And can we do it on what's the right frequency? Is it can we do it every month?
Well, so
over?
let me make a recommendation here. And Barbara, thank you for that background as the new manager. That's very helpful for me. Since we already have a July event, maybe we do August, September, and October, 3 series. And if we do them earlier in the month, then we still have the Halloween event, which is late in the month. So we're about averaging one event
And the
a
weather's
month
still nice
for-
then, and then
for
it
the
starts to
first
get
4 months.
darker earlier as you go. So then, because some people complain, they want it dark to see the movie, so, you know, there's that.
Pitch
too.
a volume discount with the,
But
with the
thank
vendor.
you
Yeah, that's a
for
good idea.
being the Organizer, or part of the team.
Yeah.
The only concern I would maybe have around the idea of doing a double feature is the time frame, because it does get late.
'Cause you
Dark,
can't-
pretty
presumably
late.
You can't start the movie until it gets dark.
Well, so I had this conversation with the vendor last
Mhm.
time. Because when he was out there testing everything before everyone arrived,
Mhm.
it was still pretty bright, pretty early, and you could see it just fine. So that's sort of the idea from my perspective of the double feature, is doing something on the earlier side, you know, that's targeted at the little ones, and then to Barbara's point, making sure you've got something that's appealable to other generations when it's a little bit darker. But I think, you know, ultimately the vendor has to be willing to like do it, because it was sort of like his artistic, I think I may have infringed on his artistic, right? Yeah, like I was like,
Yeah.
fine, right? Like they're gonna enjoy it regardless. But I think he really wanted, you know, that pitch black effect.
Yeah.
But we are doing 3 months now, so
Yeah.
maybe we could pick 3 movies and we could cater to slightly different audiences. That might be an option. The only other idea I had was if we were doing one around Halloween, maybe we join those events, because isn't there a Halloween event at the park as well?
Oh, the Halloween.
The Halloween party.
That's where we stayed. That's
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
it starts.
Halloween event is usually though, get pizza and then go and, you know, get your candy. So the kids kids and
I
families
see.
come for pizza and they stick around a little time. We do that early in the evening so that it doesn't interfere with any of the kids going and getting their candy. So it ends up being like a short, get your pizza, stick around, talk to neighbors for about an hour, and then kids run off. At least my kid runs off.
Can I chime in just on a couple of quick things? And Barbara, again, thank you for your leadership. It's very much appreciated. And apologies that I'm not on camera. Again, I am here I am. Hello. But I think so. First of all, you know, we've Michael and Arthur and I, we've talked about this. We're really excited to increase the budget so that we and Katie and everyone for that matter wants to increase the budget so we have more of these events that brings the community together. I think having 3 movies, I don't even know, you know, we have to kind of game out what are the best months. August, a lot of families are traveling. Early August maybe is a good opportunity. It's also temperatures get insufferable even at night. It can be 90 degrees at night, so it's not as enjoyable. I would propose even looking at like the months leading up to the summer, like a Memorial Day or a June event when the evenings might still be much more pleasant to sit outside, not as many gnats maybe. But in terms of the target audience, I understand. As we all know, toddlers love seeing movies over and over and over and over again. So they could have seen that movie 10 times. They'll want to see it an 11th time. But targeting tweens or teenagers might be something we should think about as well, because that might be more interesting to parents. You know, these movies are targeted to a more of a broad audience. And I think the doubleheader is aspirational and maybe a little too ambitious, since, I mean, I don't know who's going to stick around if the second part is for adults, who are the babysitters for the kids, who's sending them home if folks want to stick around. So either way, I don't think we'd go wrong by discussing increasing the frequency. The question is just when, and then figuring out what type of movies we would like to present. And I think we did a survey last year where we
Looks like winter.
And that's what they voted for. but-
yeah. What's that, Keith?
I'm not sure what, did we
All
vote?
right.
I don't remember voting actually.
Thank-
Yeah,
thank you.
I thought there was a survey where folks could pick.
They have 3 choices and that's the one that.
Yeah, Barbara,
the
we
majority-
decided to turn it over to the village, because we couldn't, well, I don't know that we felt comfortable making that sort of age-based distinction, and the village voted for that one.
Right, but if most of the people voting on this are gonna be the families with really young kids, they're gonna pick the same really young kids, and we need some events that target tweens and young teens, in my opinion. I feel like we do have plenty for the little ones.
I
and-
agree, especially if we increase the frequency, why not? You know,
Right.
then we
Let's
have
just pick the
something
movie,
for
not-
everyone.
So is our decision right now to, I think everybody agrees on having multiple movie nights. Is it a question of agreeing what the exact timeframe should be?
I think Andrew's right. I think about having it in August. We should have it in around Memorial Day. That would be.
They say, I think Barbara said there was a real, for that Sunday of Memorial Day weekend, there was, so start first one on Sunday,
Yeah.
then
Well, I think
the
about-
second.
The only thing about Memorial Day and then like Memorial Day, June, July, is it gets dark so much later the closer you are to what, June 21st or something. So
Yeah,
April is better. August, September is better. October, the nights get quite cold, but actually it could be fun to bundle up and go to the movie. I don't know. And I did have another thought. Instead of maybe a double feature movie, but maybe start each movie night with cartoons. So if you have little ones, they can come for the cartoons and the food trucks, and then they can go home and have a feature movie for.
Or they stay and you just do earmuffs, we just.
Well, I'm not talking, like horror films, which is what my kid would choose. Hopefully we're not choosing R-rated or horror, but
There's the Juneteenth holiday too in June. That's, a long weekend
Yeah.
between Memorial Day and that Juneteenth.
it'll get dark at 9 o'clock at night though in June. That's the only problem. You won't be able to start till well after 9, unless, you are saying you can see the screen a little bit, but look at when sundown is in June. It's not. But
Michael,
again, we have many
We're
events.
not.
we'll talk about it, Michael. I think maybe Memorial Weekend that we could try the first one.
I'll need to talk to the vendor too, to see if we're talking about
Yeah,
2 months from now.
we'll
we'll-
find out when you could get it.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll reach out.
And don't forget about the park permit either.
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Tiffany. That's on my list of things to do for the 4th of July party and also for
Yep.
these.
Thank you, Tiffany.
I'll
Welcome back, Tiffany.
I'll reach out
Miss you.
to some kettle corn vendors for Barbara's point. And see if we can find someone to do something like that.
Remember when I was little anyway, there would be drive-in movies and you could go to the cartoon before. So if you arrived late, you only missed the cartoon. What about cartoons? Beforehand, like classic cartoons even.
Tom and Jerry and the Roadrunner aren't gonna cost that much either, Barbara, right?
Right.
I don't know, Disney's found a way to. Someone who's going to Disney World tomorrow.
Oh, man, oh, wow.
So what?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right.
Andrew, do you have anything else? Anybody else? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Holding my peace.
Okay, Joel? Anything from Joel?
I think Andrew's onto something. I worked for Disney for a little bit, and the big challenge at Disney is how do you design a movie that's both for parents and kids. So if you get a little bit older on the kids, then it appeals to the parents. There's a nice wider range.
Yep, good. Okay, Marty, anything to add here? Actually, we're gonna probably segue right into resident comments anyway, right now.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just going to say thank you. I love all the planning. Barbara, it's great to see you. And I'm a big fan of Casablanca. So if you want to do an adult movie, that's my vote.
I am for classics for one crowd anyway.
And I love, I gotta say, Keith, I love the way you run these meetings where it's just open and everybody can discuss. It feels so friendly and just great. And Andrew, I want to thank you for chairing the council meetings in ways that move us in this direction, because this to me is just a really fun meeting, and thank you for that.
Well, as you know, this is the fun committee.
You bet, you bet. I did have one other thing, if you wanted to go to resident comments, and it's a completely different idea, but let me go back to my notes here at the beginning. I really love the Arbor Day program that Paula Goldberg put together. And Michael, you posted some tools on the weekly update or whatever. And they were really good tools. And we didn't get too many kids participating in that. I'm glad some grown-ups did. They're looking at super trees and how you measure the height and then the girth of the tree and the age of the tree and how many breaths of oxygen the tree produces. And that made me think about the Scouts. And one of the things that we haven't really done on the CEC committee is involve the Scouts. We have a really great Scout troop here. Speaking as a long ago Girl Scout, I would love to see two things. In terms of Arbor Day programs for next year, let's involve the street captains in getting the word out and those tools you could put on your phone to, identify it, and have kids draw pictures of our super trees and then post the pictures, or put them even in the newsletter or something. So there's lots more we could be doing on Arbor Day, and I'd like to see us do more to involve kids next year, which brings me to the Scouts. I think that we should involve the Scouts in Arbor Day next year, but also invite the Scouts to come to a CEC meeting. I would love to see a presentation by our various ages and shapes and sizes of Scouts at a meeting about community projects that they are doing or would like to do. I would love to have more of a connection between the CEC and the Scout troop leaders. I don't know, does anybody here have kids who are in our Scout troops here? It's a great, Boys and Girl Scouts together. It's just, I think, a great Scout troop. And so, Keith, I'm looking to you and the committee to invite the Scouts to come and talk about what they're doing.
I'm gonna do that, Barbara. That's a great idea. I'm gonna do that.
And then to also next year, Michael, maybe this is something that goes on your to-do list as well as the committees, but I hate to add anything to your to-do list, Michael. God knows it's long enough. But just to, next time we do Arbor Day, let's coordinate with the Scouts and get them involved in the Arbor Day programs for next year for Martin's Editions. So just two ideas, speaking on behalf of Scouts.
Two very excellent ideas.
I think there's one final point. Is there just Tiffany?
And we got Tiffany. Let's hear from Tiffany. Are you still with us, Tiffany?
The celebration on the sidewalk. Hopefully we'll be back for it. Looking forward to it. I think having that in-person element for elections and voting is just something that leaves a lasting impression, especially for our younger folks, that I am so thrilled you guys are bringing it back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I know Monty and Elizabeth can't wait to have you back. And
Thanks.
all right, now let's see. I wanted to mention a couple of things here. On Fridays, Michael and Aaron do a walk here. Every Friday they go around the village, and Paula Goldberg with the trees has walked with them a couple of times, and I've been with them too. And as long as I've been here, which is longer than anybody in the village, I'm finding out things I never knew. So I think what Michael is doing with that is a great idea. So we'd like to have you join in with that. That starts at noon every Friday. Come rain or shine, right, Michael? Because
Are dogs welcome, Michael?
Absolutely.
oh yes,
We
absolutely.
got dogs, babies.
And it's too bad. What I'd like to see is, I mean, it's great that people can be with us virtually, but I'd like to see more people here now for all of our meetings.
Sure, I brought cookies tonight.
Yep, and that was what I was gonna say. You guys are missing out on these cookies. And I mean,
Tell me.
those are cookies to kill for. And
God.
thanks to Katie. Okay, well, I guess that's gonna be a wrap then, everybody. Thank you all for being with us here. Lynn. Wake up, call Lynn. Thank you, Lynn, for being here with us, and Joel.
This was such a pleasure. I love this. Thank you for hosting this public forum so that the rest of us could join in.
Yeah, well, we're,
Thanks for
anxious to
joining,
see more
everybody.
of you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Andrew, Tiffany.
Bye
Marty.
bye.
Good.